What is up, everyone? Prometheus here. Today I'm going to be doing a ranking of all the Star Wars movies. I won't be ranking the animated ones, so I won't be ranking Clone Wars. It's mainly just the live action ones, the three trilogies, the Star Wars story movies, and yes, one special edition that we will be getting to very soon. But yeah, this is a pretty big undertaking. It's probably going to be controversial. Some people have varying opinions on these movies. Some people like the sequel, some people don't. Some people hate Return of the Jedi, some people love it. But this is kind of, again, I'm not ranking this based on my personal opinions on the movie, but rather my more so quality. This is kind of my, I kind of analyze them in terms of quality, critical, on a critical level, and that's how I'm ranking them. So none of these are ranked based on how I personally feel about them, how I personally like them. Like, some of these movies I absolutely love more than ones that I rank above it, and other ones I really don't like, but I rank a bit higher than expected. It's solely based on quality. So if you want my personal feelings, I'll tell you which ones I like and which ones I don't like, but this is more so a critical ranking. So Star Wars is the one of the most popular, if not the most popular and iconic movie franchise ever. One of the most influential, hell, one of the most popular media franchises ever. Period. Like, it's big. It has a wide range of fans, and even though it hasn't been doing the best in recent years, and I do think the franchise should probably slow down a bit with a whole bunch of movies still coming along the way. I like, again, there's so many other big movies in the Star Wars franchise coming up in the coming years. There's Taika Waititi's Star Wars upcoming Star Wars movie. There's Star Wars Starfighter, which I think could be good. It's set after Rise of Skywalker, but it's a disconnected story, which I think is good. And what else is coming out? There's a Darth Maul animated series, which I think could be good. And then there's Mandalorian and Grogu, which is releasing next year. And I'm a bit skeptical. I think it could be a fun adventure movie. Like, Mandalorian season 1 and 2 were great. Season 3 sucked, and I think it should have just ended after season 2. And it's still continuing with a movie, which I guess it could be just a fun one-off action adventure movie that could work. But um, once more Star Wars movies come out in the coming years, I might rearrange this list, do another one when, like, Starfighter, the new Star Wars trilogy. They're making another Star Wars trilogy set after the sequel trilogy, which I don't think they should do that. They should have just ended the story there. And if anything, if you want to do another Star Wars trilogy, you should probably just remake the prequels. Get Denis Villeneuve to remake the prequel movies, because a lot of the stuff in those ones, which we will get to soon, really didn't land, really didn't stick the landing until the end, which we will also get to in this ranking. But yeah, this is a big franchise, a lot of movies that some people hate, some people love. And yeah, so we can start the ranking now. So on to, we're going to be ranking 12 movies. The prequel, sequels, and the original, Solo, Rogue One, and a special edition. A special edition, which, speaking of, let's get to that one. At number 12, to no one's surprise if we're including this on a list like this. Most people argue over whether Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie or if Rise of Skywalker is. Well, if we exclude this movie from this list, then yeah, those ones are usually going to be near the end. But I'm including it, and if we do include it, then yeah, this is the worst Star Wars movie by default. The Star Wars Holiday Special. I was de- debating on whether I should include this or not, but it is over an hour and a half long, and it is technically a movie. It's not canon technically. It's more so a TV special, but you know what? I didn't want this to be ranking 11 movies. I wanted to round this out to a nice even number, so I included it, and it made it a lot easier to rank the final weakest movie in the entire franchise. And yeah, it's just as bad as people say it is. It is horrendous. It is the worst Star Wars movie easily. Like it makes some of the bad crap from the sequel and prequel trilogy look like the Mona Lisa. Like I got some ironic enjoyment out of it, and when I say some, because I probably couldn't make it through more than half an hour of this movie. Like it sucked real time. I don't really have much to say. You know how bad it is. The actors even despise it. Even the creators, the big Star Wars officials, George Lucas, the actors, everyone involved, just want to forget this movie ever happened. And you know what? I don't blame them. It is easily the weakest movie in the Star Wars franchise by default, if you want to include it. If you don't, then we'll get to what would be at my bottom spot if I excluded the Star Wars Holiday Special, which is number 11. At number 11, we have the worst movie in the prequel trilogy, Attack of the Clones. Now, I will say there are some cool action scenes here and there in this movie. One thing that I say is consistently good throughout the trilogy is, I guess, maybe Obi-Wan. Who knows? I'm not too big of a fan of these movies either way, except for one of them, which we will get to. I think you probably can figure out which one that is. But yeah, Attack of the Clones is really bad. Like, again, there's some people that like it, but that's probably because of ironic enjoyment. Yeah, but it's basically everything bad about the prequel trilogy rolled up into one movie. You know, a lot of the CGI doesn't look the best. Story isn't done the best. Some of the acting. There's the iconic "I don't like sand" from this movie's Anakin. Plus, Anakin and Padme's relationship throughout this trilogy just sucks. Um, I guess that's one thing we can all agree on. It's not the best in any of these movies. And it ends in a really stupid way, which we will get to later in this list, where you can probably figure out which movie it is. But yeah, Attack of the Clones, it doesn't have the best acting. It doesn't have, I mean, some of the effects look fine, I guess. Some of the action's fine. Some, like, I'm trying to fish out, like, hints of quality in this movie, but overall, yeah, it's not good. Like, everything bad about this movie has been said by many other people, and I don't really think I need to cover it all that much. It's Attack of the Clones. It's a prequel. It's not the best story-wise, mostly characterized, acting-wise, hell, even visual-wise. The action, like I said, is fine. But Django, what was his? I forgot his name. Blue Boba Fett. Boba Fett's father, I think, was fine, I guess. Emperor Palpatine was fine. I don't know. I'm just kind of just looking, scavenging for good things to say about this movie, but there isn't much. I'm sorry to say this, but any Attack of the Clones fans, mainly they just get ironic enjoyment out of it, and I guess that's fine. People can love what they want, and don't take my word as gospel. If you think this movie is good, that is totally fine. I respect that. But for me, yeah, this is probably the weakest movie in the Star Wars franchise if you exclude the holiday special. And now let's move on to number 10, which is a movie that a lot of people probably were expecting me to rank a lot lower based on what I've said about it in the past. At number 10, we have probably the most despised movie in the franchise, aside from the holiday special, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Worst movie in the sequel trilogy, and considered by many to be the worst in the franchise. Panned by critics, panned by fans. It's a very, very hated movie. And I have said in the past that I really don't like where the story and writing went, but over time, I think maybe my dislike of this movie was a bit over exaggerated, because after digging deeper, I did find some quality elements in this that definitely put it above the previous two movies. Those quality elements being the action is really good, the effects are really good, the visuals are really good, the acting's mostly really good. Um, there's some cool moments like the final battle. Like, yeah, people don't really like how convenient it is that the entire galaxy came to fight all these uh, Empire, Starfleet, and whatever. But there's some cool moments. That final battle, that final scene with the Emperor Palpatine facing off against Rey, the resistance against the Empire. It's pretty cool, even if I don't know if the writing's the best. Like, I'll get to why everyone else hates this movie in a sec, but let's just go over the positives. Like I said, the acting is pretty good. Like, the acting is good throughout the entire sequel trilogy, but it's mainly the characters and their writing that people don't really like. And yeah, mostly the only good things I can say, the good stuff I can say about this movie, mainly just boils down to visuals and some cool moments here and there. But now let's get to why everyone else doesn't like it. Well, let's see. It has some of the weakest writing and story moments in the franchise. Like, again, there's some cool lightsaber duels, but mainly people just don't like the conveniences, all the fan service. It's just fan service overload in this movie. And yeah, there's some people that might like it for that, and I can understand. Like, I have family members who do actually like this movie since they're nostalgic, and this did feel like Star Wars to them, and I respect that. Again, you don't need to take my opinion as gospel. If you like this movie, that's totally fine. But yeah, Rise of Skywalker is easily one of the weakest Star Wars movies because, again, the writing isn't the best. The characters are at their worst. And I guess there could be some reason for it lore wise, but yeah, I think bringing back the Emperor wasn't the best choice. They could have kept Kylo as the villain, and he's still all right here, I guess. But then again, the new characters in the sequel trilogy didn't all win me over. Which we will get to later, the other movies in the trilogy. And yeah, so Rise of Skywalker isn't the best. It's not good, but hey, it looks nice. Has some epic moments. The action's fine. The acting's mostly fine. Like, yeah, it fell flat in the writing and story department. Like, the reveal that Rey was Palpatine's granddaughter didn't really shock me all that much. Like, the way it was delivered, and it didn't really feel all that meaningful, honestly. Like, yeah, it does tie into the plot, and there's stupid moments all over this, like, oh, Chewie died. Oh no, he was on another ship, that's convenient. Or, oh no, that dagger that they found is actually like a map or something for the Death Star, the ruins of the Death Star. Oh, that's fine. Or the entire galaxy just swoops in onto the Empire planet to fight Palpatine and his forces. Okay, that's, I mean, the action scene was fine, but that's just convenient. It's a lot of plot conveniences and just shortcomings from the writing. And yeah, Derek Connolly, the writer of this movie and other movies that I don't really like, who is also going to be writing the Zelda movie. That's probably the thing that worries me the most about that movie. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Star Wars. But yeah, The Rise of Skywalker, it's the main reason why people don't like it is just because it's not the best conclusion. It doesn't have a good story. It doesn't have the best writing. I see why a lot of people don't like this. A lot of reasons why people don't think this is like even bad. People just think this is absolutely horrendous. I don't think it's absolutely atrocious because there are some quality elements. But in the end, yeah, this is probably the least liked movie in the Star Wars franchise aside from the holiday special, because just it doesn't feel like a conclusion, the conclusion that this legendary franchise deserves, that this saga deserves. It honestly, what the best thing to kind of sum this up is, people consider it an insult to Star Wars as a whole. And, well, I don't think it's necessarily the worst movie ever. Like, again, I like the visuals and action, some cool moments. It's not devoid of quality elements, but the bad stuff in here is still really bad. Anyways, I've been yapping about Rise of Skywalker a bit too long, but just here's the takeaway. It's still one of the weakest Star Wars movies by far. And I was considering ranking it below Attack of the Clones, but then again, this one had better action, visuals, and uh, acting, and duels and stuff than Attack of the Clones, so I guess that's something. So that's why I ranked it above it. But yeah, basically said everything that I need to about Rise of Skywalker. And again, I'm trying to keep my personal feelings about these movies out of this. I haven't brought up whether I like these movies or not too much out in this ranking, since this is solely based on quality, at least my observation of their quality. And in terms of quality, yeah, this one, it isn't good. It's fine, like the action's fine. I've said that multiple times, but yeah, that's everything I can really cover. On to the next spots. Number 9. So, at number 9, we have the first movie in the prequel trilogy, The Phantom Menace. Now, like I said, it's not devoid of quality. Like I always try to find good things in bad movies. And yeah, even with Rise of Skywalker, which is hated beyond, like, it's hated so much, but I did find some good parts in it. And in this one, yeah, it still shares a lot of the blemishes, the shortcomings of Attack of the Clones and the sequel trilogy, a prequel trilogy as a whole. But look on the bright side, it does have some good moments. Like that final Duel of Fates, is cool. The musical score is good. But yeah, the acting, a lot of the acting is not the best. And this did not leave the best impression on for the first impression for the prequel trilogy. Yeah, this movie still isn't that good. It's, again, I guess the action's fine. There's some ironic enjoyment to be had. It's really meme worthy. I forgot to bring up, the prequel trilogy is very meme worthy, very memed, like memed to hell and back. And let's bring up the biggest meme, probably the biggest meme from this movie and the trilogy as a whole, Jar Jar Binks. Yeah, he's annoying. He sucks. But he does get, I guess we can get some ironic enjoyment out of him. And speak of the visuals I brought up beforehand with like Rise of Skywalker, which I thought the visuals in that movie were good. This one CGI kind of sucks. Like that final battle sequence sucked. The CGI in this movie isn't good. It the acting isn't all that good either. The writing and story still isn't good. Most of this movie isn't the best. Now, I still rank it above Attack of the Clones and Rise of Skywalker because there are some good elements, some enjoyment to be had. And the story here, I guess, isn't absolutely horrendous. Like, we get to see Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. I think his name's Qui-Gon. Haven't seen it in a while. And again, that final battle sequence is epic. There's still some good action here. Young Anakin Skywalker sucked, I guess. I don't really have much to say about the prequels, except for the other movie, which, yeah, you probably know it's coming up soon. But yeah, Phantom Menace is not the best, unfortunately. Didn't leave the best first impression, but hey, it's not the worst thing ever. It like I do think it's better in some aspects to the previously mentioned movies. It's not devoid of quality elements. Like I don't know, like I said, the action's fine. There's ironic enjoyment to be had. Uh, the story isn't absolutely horrendous. The writing isn't the best, but I guess it's not. I guess it's not as bad as Attack of the Clones. I don't know what to say, man. Like, after this next movie, we're going to be getting into the all right Star Wars movies, to the good ones, to the great ones, to the amazing ones. And yeah, but I don't really have too much to say about the bad ones since all the bad stuff has been said already with these movies. But the main takeaway is that, yeah, this didn't leave the best first impression on this prequel trilogy. But then again, uh, you can't really expect everything to be good. So that's that's really the all the really bad ones out of the way. This next one's just kind of mediocre. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that consider this next one genuinely terrible, and I can see why, but there's some good elements in this next one. But yeah, these last few, like uh Star Wars Holiday Special was like a, I don't know, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10 probably, 3 out of 10 for ironic enjoyment maybe. Attack of the Clones was like a 3 or 4 out of 10. Rise of Skywalker was like a 4 out of 10 maybe. And this one I'd say maybe like a 4 or 5 out of 10. Like, I'm sorry if I'm offending any Star Wars fans that actually like this, because again, you don't have to take my word as gospel. This is just, again, these aren't my personal feelings. This is just more the critical quality observations I've made, and so far it's not the best. This series does have some a lot of garbage in it, but hey, it gets better from here. So let's move on to number 8. Number 8 is a movie that a lot of people also hate. Star Wars The Last Jedi. What do I think of this one? Well, similarly to Rise of Skywalker, I do think it definitely falls flat in certain writing departments. Like the character of what's her name, Rose. I haven't seen this one in a while, but I do remember quite enough of it. But the character of Rose, yeah, people didn't like that one. The arc with Finn and Rose, people did not like that, and yeah, it kind of sucks. People didn't like not Hansel, Luke Skywalker and how he was done dirty in this one, and yeah, kind of sucks. I do think there are some good aspects to his redemption that I kind of like. Like, um, some people wanted him to actually show up to that final battle, and yeah, I guess that could have made it a lot more tragic, his death. But the way it is, yeah, people don't like his arc. They don't like how he was done. But I got some good out of it. I don't know. This movie still isn't good. Now I will say this is still visually amazing. Like, yeah, there's great CGI, great action sequences in this. It still looks really good. Um there's still though a lot of bad in this. Like, for example, the part where they get stranded on that other planet and have to find a way off. That arc wasn't necessary. I feel like they just put that in there to extend the runtime to over 2.5 hours. This is the longest movie in the franchise. They didn't need that part. If that part was out, and maybe if they fixed certain aspects of um, Luke Skywalker's arc, and got rid of the Rose crap and another character that I'll get to, then yeah, this probably would have been one of the better Star Wars movies. But as it is, it's still like there's still some good elements to this. It's kind of like a 5 out of 10 maybe. I don't know. Uh but let's get to the other big problem people have with this. Yeah, people don't like that purple-haired lady. And yeah, she sucks. She kind of has a sacrifice in this movie, and we don't feel anything because we do not like the character. There's some stupid moments, fan service moments, and yeah, this movie still doesn't work. It wasn't a great follow up to Force Awakens, which we'll get to later. And overall, yeah, this is probably, like, of the 3 sequels in the trilogy, it's not as bad as Attack of the Clones, but it's not as good as the other one, which you'll be seeing higher up on this list for sure. But yeah, overall, Last Jedi, in spite of its great visuals and some good aspects to the story and characters, it still falls flat. And thankfully, this is the end of the not good Star Wars movies, and we're just going to get into the alright ones, to the good ones, to the really great ones. So let's move on to number 7, I believe. At number 7, we have Solo, a Star Wars story. Um, the one of the two Star Wars story movies. Prequels tell story of characters we haven't really gotten too much about. The other one we'll get to right after or soon. Um, but yeah, what did I think of Solo? It was solid. It was all right. It's like your average 6 out of 10. Like there's some really good elements. The action. I think one thing that's consistently great about most of the Star Wars movies, except for maybe Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, is the CGI. Like the CGI looks good. The special effects look really good. The action is good throughout most of these movies, obviously. And yeah, this one has really good action, solid backstory to Han Solo, I guess. But yeah, it's solid. It's not particularly great, but it's not bad either, honestly. Um, I don't really have too much to say. It's just your average, solid, all right movie. Uh, I don't really want to linger on this one too much. It's fine. It's solid. It's enjoyable enough. Good action. Uh, I liked Lando. He was there. That's about it. Moving forward, let's move on to number 6. At number 6, we have a fan favorite, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now, let's get into my personal feelings. This is my favorite Star Wars movie. But as an indicator to anything, it's that this list is based on quality alone. So, to show you that this is based on quality, I am ranking my favorite Star Wars movie not in the top 5 because there are better movies than this in the franchise. But even then, this is still a really great movie nonetheless. Like, it was, I didn't know I needed this. It's a great prequel that manages to tell a great story with none of the characters from the previous movies except for Darth Vader, who shows up with some really cool moments like that recreation of the hallway scene. One of the most awesome moments in the entire franchise. Probably my favorite Darth Vader scene, period. The characters are fine. They're cool, I guess. The action is really good, and the mission to get the Death Star plans is good. Like, there's some weird stuff near the end, like with the CGI de-aging faces, but that's really just a nitpick. It's not a really big problem. This movie isn't perfect. It got maybe some story flaws with the characters and stuff, but I don't really want to delve into those. I want to talk about the really great stuff. The action, it's a lot darker, more tragic. I like that the characters, the main characters of this movie don't make it out alive because yeah, basically this is a suicide mission, but it kicks off the events of A New Hope, and I think it leads really well into that movie. Yeah, this is easily my favorite Star Wars movie, but this is based on quality and not personal feelings. But if this was a personal list, then yeah, Rogue One would be at number 1. But for where it is, yeah, it's not. There are better movies in the franchise that we are about to get to. But even then, I totally understand why this is a fan favorite. It is my favorite. It is a great movie because, yeah, we're getting into the great ones now. Let's move on to number 5. At number 5 is The Force Awakens, the first movie and the only good movie in the sequel trilogy. Yeah, this one's great. There's some people that really dislike this one, and I can understand. Like, this movie isn't perfect either. In fact, I think me like the top 3 of this list was already easy to rank from the start. So was the lower bottom places; those were also easy to rank. But I think numbers 6, 5, and 4 were the hardest to rank because Rogue One's my favorite. Force Awakens is also one that I like, and the next one is also a fan favorite. But it was hard to rank these. I was going back and forth. I had Force Awakens at number 6. I had Rogue One at number 5. Go back and forth. But um, in the end, I do think this movie is really great. Like, it's not the best sequel to the original trilogy. It kind of just rehashes a lot of the elements of the first movie. It's not too ambitious, really. I've heard a lot of people say that, and yeah, I can agree with that. But when you disconnect it from the original trilogy, it's really great. Yeah. As much as I dislike Rey, I do think she's probably my least favorite protagonist in the entire from all 3 of the trilogies. She serves her main character role pretty well here. Pretty solid. She's a pretty solid protagonist here. Kylo Ren is a really good villain. Finn and what was his name again? I can't remember. Finn and the Oscar Isaac character are pretty fun. It's nice to see Han Solo back. I don't really know how I feel about the his death. It's unexpected and shocking, and I guess it ties it to the story. But some people have different feelings on that. But yeah, based on quality, this movie is really great. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It has great action, some great epic moments, and it's a pretty good standalone film as well. You don't need to know too much about the previous films. Like, yeah, for big Star Wars fans, there's a lot of references and like, oh, you point your finger, oh, look at that, that's cool, and it's not as overindulgent as it was in movies like Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. And yeah, it's overall, yeah, it's great. Yeah, if you disagree, if you think this is bad, that's fine. I don't care. But solely based on quality, yeah, this is definitely one of the best Star Wars movies. Let's move on to another fan favorite at number 4. So at number 4, we have Revenge of the Sith. Now, this one was also hard to rank because then again, Rogue One and Force Awakens and Revenge of the Sith, I was going back and forth between which one I think is the best of the three, which one I think was the weakest. I had Rogue One at number 4, I had Rogue One at number 5, I had Rogue One at number 6, I had Revenge of the Sith in all the spots. It was going back and forth between these three movies. Like, honestly, my ranking for these three movies could change. Like, it's not personal feelings, more so quality. And in terms of quality, yeah, Revenge of the Sith does have varying opinions. Some people think it's bad, other people think it's an absolute masterpiece. What do I think? Well, originally I did think it was fine. I think it had some stellar elements, but some also a lot of big shortcomings. I thought it was like a 6 or 7 out of 10. But after revisiting it, yeah, um, my scores went up a bit because yeah, this is pretty great. This movie does have its flaws, a lot of flaws, shares some flaws with the rest of the trilogy. It has some cringy moments, some meme-worthy moments, some story beats people don't really like. Another a really stupid part to it, which I will get to. But in spite of all these shortcomings, Revenge of the Sith still has some of the best moments in the entire franchise. Some of the biggest peaks. This movie is great. Like, yeah, it has its flaws, and I did originally think it was just fine, good. But you know what? These fantastic moments elevate it to a whole nother level. Like, where do I even begin? I guess you could it's definitely has. I'd say that this movie definitely has more flaws than Rogue One or Force Awakens. Maybe, who knows? I'd have to dig deeper. But what puts it above those two movies is that it's its peaks. The peaks of this movie far outshine the peaks of Force Awakens and Rogue One. Um, that final battle is one of the best action sequences in the entire franchise. It has some great emotional moments. Anakin's falling to the dark side is tragic. Palpatine's maniacal in this movie, absolutely sinister, great villain. There's some great action sequences, some of the better visuals in the trilogy. Um, but I think by far the best aspect of this movie that I don't see too many people talking about is the soundtrack, the musical score. This is a tour de force of a musical score. Like, every song fits the scene. It is absolutely just musical cinema. I think this score is the best in the franchise, and hell, maybe even better than the movie itself, which again is still really good in spite of its flaws. Yeah, but the Anakin stuff is really good. The story is pretty compelling and gripping and emotional, even if there's still some shortcomings with it. Um, but yeah, the reasons why people love this movie are ultimately the reasons why I do have it currently ranked above Force Awakens and Rogue One, but that could change. These three movies are hard to rank. The top three was probably the easiest top three I've ever done. Like, you probably know what they are already. But Rogue One and Force Awakens are all great movies. And honestly. This one is also great. It has some great aspects. Um, Even if it does have its flaws, and those flaws could drag it below those two movies in terms of quality. But you know what? The peaks of this movie are enough to put it above them for now, at least. Yeah. Now let's go get on to probably my least favorite aspect of this movie, Anakin and Padme, and specifically her death. It's really stupid. I mean, it's been said before. Like they can achieve they can achieve traveling at the speed of light. They can achieve creating swords out of lightsabers, and they can achieve like so much technologically amazing stuff. Like they have so much advanced technology, and yet they can't revive a perfectly healthy woman because she's lost the will to live. That is absolutely stupid. This problem would be resolved if maybe, I don't know, Anakin wounded her in that final confrontation. I mean, it's still pretty tragic, but again, it's stupid because she lost her will to live. Okay, it would be more believable if she maybe had been wounded or something. Who knows? But yeah, I think the Anakin and Padme stuff is just not good throughout all three of these movies. Like even in this one, but in the end, yeah, Revenge of the Sith rocks. It's a great movie, even if it does have its flaws. But you know what? Its great aspects put it above the previous two movies, even if those ones technically don't have as many flaws. But you know what? It's not as it's not as it's a lot better than I remember.
Homer, is there a Darth Vader? Oh.
Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, so I don't really need to talk too much on this movie because we already know why it's beloved by a lot of people. Let's move on to the obvious top three, which honestly don't need to explain why I have them in the top three. Like, we already know this was the top three from the start. So let's move on to the top three, shall we? At number three is Return of the Jedi. Yeah, we're getting into the genuinely amazing ones. And yeah, this is probably the weakest in the original trilogy, but you know what? It's still really great. Um, it's one of the best threequels ever, period. Like, what can I say? It's a great movie. Amazing movie. Like, I guess it's not perfect. There's varying opinions on the Ewok part. I thought they were pretty fun. And this movie isn't perfect necessarily, but you know what? I want to focus on the great stuff, and this movie has a lot of great stuff. Oh my goodness. The action is amazing. The character and stories are amazing. Um, that final battle is amazing. Like, Darth Vader's redemption. Palpatine finally shows up for a lot of scenes, and yeah, he's great. He's Insidious. Like, he's not the most deep character ever, but he still makes for a just great pure evil villain, and his death and Vader's redemption in the end is absolutely just amazing, satisfying. Yeah, this is a fantastic movie. Some people don't like it, but you know what? I don't care. For the sake of this list, in terms of quality, it's a great movie, even if it isn't as good as the previous two, but it's a great conclusion to them. It's not as good as something like Return of the King as a conclusion, but you know what? Putting it against Return of the King isn't fair because the Lord of the Rings trilogy as a whole is just better than all three of these movies. Well, maybe Empire Strikes Back is on the same level of quality as maybe something like Return of the King, but we're not talking about Lord of the Rings. I might do a Lord of the Rings ranking soon, but that's a video for another day. Anyways, yeah, Return of the Jedi is great. The characters are still great. There's some fun stuff like the Ewok village. It's fun. Some people don't like it. Some people think it's out of place, but you know what? They're cute. I guess it's some downtime. But yeah, there's obviously great action. The practical stuff is amazing. Um, that final battle is phenomenal. This is still one of the best Star Wars movies ever made, and one of the best prequels as well. I don't really know what else to say. Let's move on to the default top two Star Wars movies that are pretty obvious. At number 2, we have A New Hope, the original Star Wars movie. The one that kicked it all off, the one that started it all, one of the most iconic movies ever made, one of the most important movies ever made. And is it good? Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. This is the perfect hero's journey movie, and it's a pretty good standalone one. Like, yeah, obviously, it continues with the sequels that come out, Revenge of the Sith, not Revenge of the Sith, sorry, Return of the Jedi, and another movie which you probably know it's coming up after this. But you can watch this one, and it still concludes in the end. It's still a pretty good standalone story. But yeah, great characters, great action, pretty good pacing. I like the hero's journey setup, and this is probably a great example of the hero's journey that could be studied in film school. I studied in film school. Um, but yeah, everyone said every great thing about this movie. It's just a great start to the franchise. One of the most iconic and influential movies ever made. It's an absolute classic. Uh, yeah, I don't really need to talk too much on why it's great. It's got a great story, pacing, characters, great hero's journey set up. Those blowing up the Death Star is cool. Darth Vader's cool. Introduced us to Han Solo, introduced us to Luke Skywalker. Um, and for the sake of this video, I watched the VHS versions because the DVD versions definitely made some changes I didn't like. And it's a breath of fresh air to watch the original versions. And yeah, my family grew up with these movies. My dad loved A New Hope as a kid. It's a great movie. It's extremely rewatchable. It's everything you could want out of a movie, honestly. Like, I absolutely love it. It's still probably like one of my 3 favorite movies in the franchise, maybe alongside Force Awakens and Rogue One. But even if I remove my personal feelings about these movies, this is still like one of the best movies of the franchise. It would be the best movie in the franchise if it weren't for the obvious number 1 that was probably clear from the start. Let's get to it. At number 1, we have probably the most obvious pick, the most commonly considered the best in the franchise, most commonly considered one of the best sequels of all time, commonly considered one of the greatest movies of all time. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Does it live up to the hype? Yeah, obviously it does. I have it at number 1. It is the best Star Wars movies. It is the best Star Wars movie. And one of the best movies ever made, period. It's the perfect sequel. It follows up on the previous movie, which was already pretty good on its own. It increases the stakes. It's a lot darker and more mature than the previous film, and basically everything good has been said about it. The "I am your father" reveal is probably the most iconic plot twist in movie history. It's still got the great action, obviously, like the battle on Hoth, the great practical effects. It's sci-fi action movies at its finest. Like, my goodness, everyone has said every good thing about this movie, and it is all right. Like, it's the perfect sequel, a near perfect movie, great story, great writing, everything great about Star Wars rolled into one tour de force of a movie. The best movie in the franchise. It is probably, like, if I went into a deep dive, I actually don't think this is the best piece of Star Wars media, period. I think it's the second best Star Wars media, like the second best piece of Star Wars media, right behind Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which I think is better than all the movies and shows. Has the best story ever told from Star Wars. And yeah, great gameplay and RPG systems as well, but we're not talking about Knights of the Old Republic here, but we're talking about Empire Strikes Back, and yeah, it's fantastic. It's a masterpiece. Great, perfect sequel. I honestly am at a loss of words. Everyone has said everything good about this movie. It amps up the stakes a lot. That shocking reveal that has become really obvious today because people just keep quoting it, but back then it shocked the entire world. I am your father. You thought Anakin and Darth Vader were two different people, that Darth Vader killed Luke's father, but no. Luke is the son of the main villain of the franchise. Well, until Palpatine comes in, and it was a big shock to audiences. Now, I obviously knew about it before I even watched the movie because everyone knows it now, obviously. But it's still a great twist. It's well built up too. There's some dark. This movie is not afraid to go into dark and more mature places. Like Luke got his hand cut off by his own father, which is, yeah, it's pretty brutal. This movie makes a bold new trek into different territories that the previous movie didn't go to. It's again a lot darker and more mature. Tells a much more urgent story. There's a lot of things at stake, and it is done masterfully. It's the best Star Wars movie by default. Yoda, it's got Yoda. He's one of the best characters in the franchise. Um, I don't know if he's actually wise or just some crackhead living in a swamp, but he's fun. And yeah, Luke's journey is great throughout all three of these movies, but particularly here, it is done amazingly. Um, Darth Vader's still great. Yeah, this is the best Star Wars movie. What else do I need to say? Um, Now I will say, actually, no, I don't think I need to say anything else. Everything great about this movie has been said before, and I don't think I need to repeat it. This is the best Star Wars movie, one of the best sequels ever made, one of the best sci-fi movies, one of the best movies ever made, period. And the second best thing to ever come out of the Star Wars media franchise, behind Knights of the Old Republic. But even that's a hard act to follow up on. Now, you don't have to agree with this list. This is just kind of my observation, my observation of their quality. It's not my personal feelings. Again, it's just kind of ranked based on how I perceive their quality, at least. But yeah, everyone's Star Wars ranking is going to change, and you know what? That's fine. Everyone's going to like some of these movies, hate some of them. There's some great movies on this list that people absolutely despise, some bad ones that people are probably going to rank high, hell, even at number one. But in the end, regardless of quality, you can love or hate these movies as much as you want. You don't have to agree with everyone, and this is just kind of my observation, my ranking. Yeah, so that was every Star Wars movie ranked. It's a big franchise, and not all of them work, but the ones that do work have left a lasting legacy on cinema, pop culture as a whole. Like Empire Strikes Back might just be the single most iconic movie ever made. Like, yeah, there's other ones that you could also uh, put on that pedestal, but honestly, Empire Strikes Back is the most iconic movie and the most iconic movie franchise ever made, so might as well be the most iconic movie ever made and one of the greatest. But you don't have to love all of them. You can feel whatever you want about this franchise. In recent years, it's gone downhill, and honestly, I think the franchise never really peaked again after Disney bought out. Like, yeah, Revenge of the Sith is really great, obviously. Andor is probably one of the top three best pieces of Star Wars media ever. Like, I'd say the top three best pieces of Star Wars media are Andor, then Empire Strikes Back, and then Knights of the Old Republic. But yeah, the Star Wars franchise has gone downhill recently, and there's still a lot of movies and shows to come out soon. But I think I'm not too much of a Star Wars fan anymore. I've gone out of this franchise. I feel like I've gotten everything I needed out of them. I'm still gonna check out these upcoming movies, but um, yeah, this franchise, I feel like it's just good to leave these three trilogies untouched. Even if they are getting follow ups, but I feel like the franchise needs to rest. They can't keep going on with this franchise forever. It's been here for decades. Yeah, there's obviously a new trilogy, new stories to be told, but eventually it needs to come to a rest. But we will always have the memories of this franchise in our heart, the great moments, the bad ones that we still unironically enjoy. Like, Decades on, we'll still remember I Am Your Father. We'll still remember Jar Jar for all the wrong reasons. We'll still remember the tragic story told in Revenge of the Sith, the tragic story told in the Clone Wars near the end. I haven't watched that show. I don't have the time, but I hear it's good. But yeah, this franchise will live on in our hearts. The story will live on forever, even if it didn't end off on the best note with the sequel trilogy. Um, in the end, there's still something to be enjoyed from all of these movies, except for the holiday special. Stay away from that one. So the main takeaway from this list: enjoy movies the way you want. You don't need to agree with everyone on everything. But in the end, Star Wars is Star Wars, and it sucks recently, but hey, we still have the memories to look back on. And sometimes that's all we need. We don't need more movies, we just need the memories. Thank you for watching. This has been Prometheus ranking all the Star Wars movies. Tell me what you think in the comments. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. Hell, if you even hate this ranking, that's totally fine as well. If you agree, that's fine. Like, again, I am not enforcing my opinion. But, hey, argue down in the comments if you want. But be respectful. Respect other people's opinions on the movies. I might hate one movie. You may love that movie. I won't argue. You don't need to argue with me either. But in the end, it's movies. Everyone's going to think differently about a movie. With every person who loves a movie, there's always going to be someone who hates it. And we're just going to have to live with that fact. Respect other people's opinions on movies. And respect Star Wars as a franchise, even if it doesn't have the best films recently. I'm kind of waffling on. Let's just end it here. Yeah, this has been Star Wars. This has been Prometheus. I'll see you on the next one.